Hey guys, it's Beaver back with another video, and today we're going to be flying high over Marquez Monolith in the Little Bird, and later on in the Z-11. I ended up stealing the Z-11 because some guy decided to just use it to transport himself to the roof and didn't think it was a good idea to blow it up or otherwise destroy it, so it went back to the enemy spawn. Anyway, so I end up stealing their Z-11, and that's going to become a topic in the end of this video, or more, towards the 3/4 mark, where I'm going to talk about tactics when you steal an enemy vehicle, because I don't see a lot of people effectively use those vehicles when they steal them, or play it right to give their team the best advantage. First of all, I want to talk about the frame drop. Now, this is a problem that I've found with Aftermath so far, and I assume that probably Xbox will also have this problem. Probably not such a big deal on PC because PCs are so far advanced over consoles. However, the biggest problem I have found with frame drop is on this map when I'm flying in an air vehicle. Now, this is the only new map with an air vehicle, but I find there's massive frame drop, and it really causes laggy controls or controls to not work the same as they usually do. Like, I find when I'm flying in the Little Bird, I can't feather the controls the same way I do on other maps, and just to get those fine movements, it's either like you're doing nothing or all of a sudden, you've gone way too far, and it becomes a bit of a problem. So I was wondering if I could ask you guys what the cause of that might be, or what the frame rate drop has to do with controls of the Little Bird or your turn look speed or whatever. Because I can't say this is right, so that's why I'm asking you guys if you have a better explanation. What I saw from the forums is a guy responded saying that when your frame rate drops, your turn look speed drops by an equivalent amount to make it so that if you have less frames, then you're going to have to put more into it to turn look, because your turn look speed is dropped by the equivalent amount. So if you guys could either confirm that or tell me I'm wrong and tell me what is wrong about that, then I can update everyone in a later video. So now I want to get into the tactics of being in an enemy vehicle, because I find that a lot of times what people do is when they're in the enemy vehicle, they charge ahead and they play very aggressively like they would if they're in their own vehicle. This becomes a problem because not only are you in that case going to be destroyed a lot quicker or have a higher chance of being destroyed, you also need to remember that you are currently in an enemy vehicle, which in and of itself, if you do nothing in that vehicle, you're helping your team because you're holding a vehicle from the enemy. So as a general rule, if I'm in our vehicle, I will be more aggressive, but if I'm in the enemy vehicle, then I'll play more on the conservative side. So here's an example. Say your friendly troops are a line. If you're in your own vehicle, you want to play aggressive, you want to play on the line, you want to be in the push with your team. Now, if you're in an enemy vehicle, you want to play a step back. You want to be just behind your friendly troops, close enough that you can support them. So I'm talking only maybe a difference of 15-20 meters in game. You want to be as close enough to support them, but you also want to protect yourself. You want to stay behind your teammates, put yourself at a lower risk. That way, the enemy doesn't get that vehicle back. It's the same sort of thing on Gnawshire. Say you steal the AA. At all costs, you don't want the enemy to get that AA back, because then the defenders can take out the air extremely easy. Whereas if you are in the AA, then your Little Bird can absolutely tear things up because it has very to little opposition. The only thing it has to watch out for are stingers, which if you're in the Little Bird are fairly easy to dodge on Gnawshire. There's a fair amount of cover on that map if you know how to use it. Anyways, this map especially, there is an absolute ton of cover, and it is absolutely perfect for the Little Bird. But I also want to get into Little Bird tactics, because I find a lot of people, when they see a tank, they go, "Ooh, tank, let me destroy that." And they fly right at the tank when the tank is looking at it. Usually when the tank is looking at it, you are going to get destroyed. You're going to accidentally drop below the limit so that the tank will be able to hit you with his main cannon, even though you won't actually know you hit that point. And what you also need to be worried about is there's no absolute defined limit of where that tank main cannon can rise to. because if the tank puts himself on a slight incline, he can hit you at a much higher angle. So when you're in a little bird, you need to remember you're very vulnerable to tank rounds as well as RPGs. So you need to be a little more precautious, especially when you're in the enemy's Z-11. You don't want them to get that vehicle back because someone can use that very effectively. And if you're in it, that means you're going to have about 4 or 5 guys on the enemy team looking up at the sky trying to take you out. So you serve as a very great distraction for your team so they can push up with less opposition. So what you'll see in this game is I tend to fly high and I stay above at a conservative point where it's hard for them to hit me or near impossible, and I stay out of reach of the tank's main cannon. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stay up there, but what I do is I wait for the enemy tank to get engaged in some sort of conflict, whether it's with ground troops or our attacking tank, and then I can come up behind him where I do double damage, because if you shoot a tank with your main minigun of the little bird in the rear end of the tank, you do twice the amount of damage you would if you shoot it anywhere else on the tank. So once he gets engaged, he's not paying attention to you. You can come up right behind him and just start bursting him in the butt, doing double damage to this vehicle. This makes you extremely effective in taking that tank out, as well as making sure that you're protected because you won't have that main cannon looking at you. This can be a good tactic even on any other map, whether you're playing on Nosshire or Sharky or any map that has this sort of an air vehicle. I hope this tip works out for you guys, and remember that if you play more conservatively, you end up upsetting the enemy and they get more distracted because they get so focused on taking that vehicle out and taking you out because they want their vehicles back. That you can do this in any vehicle, whether it's a tank, an LAV, little bird, attack chopper. Just bear in mind that you want to play more conservatively because you are helping out your team by holding those vehicles from the enemy. Now, I'm not encouraging base rape, but I am encouraging that if you do manage to steal an enemy vehicle in fair play, then use it to the best advantage you can, and use yourself as a great distraction for the enemy. Now, I'm sorry guys, I know this was a longer video, but I really wanted to get these tips out there because I see people do the things a little bit wrong, and I find that little birds sometimes they get taken out a little bit too easy, and they can be such an effective vehicle. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.